Hello and welcome to the White Collar Fitness Radio, the ultimate podcast for professionals striving to achieve optimal performance in today's fast-paced age. I'm your host, Bruno Dalladoni, online body transformation specialist and founder of the Health Coach Fitness. I'm here to help you optimize your health and fitness, even if you're short on time. Welcome back, everybody, to the podcast. Today, we are discussing sleep and gain connections. So sleep isn't just for recovery. It isn't just so you can get a little bit of shut-eye. Sleep is actually a secret weapon to get new PBs in the gym. Today we'll unpack how rest turns you into a lifting beast and how you can maximize it. Now, Matt Fraser of CrossFit fame has previously said in podcasts, if sleep wasn't a natural thing that we all do, it'd probably be a banned substance. And I want you guys to keep that in mind as we progress, because it is in fact that important. When you first fall asleep, in the sort of first 2 to 3 hours into your sleep, you should be going into some deep sleep. Now, your deep sleep unleashes growth hormone into your body. Now, growth hormone has many things, but for this case and purpose, it's one of the drivers that's going to help your body repair the damage you've done through training, whether that's lifting or whatever other training you might be doing. And obviously, if you're skimping out on your sleep, then you won't be repairing as effectively. It means less gains, weaker lifts, and it's really like cooking without heat. Pretty rubbish, really. Now, there's a 2011 study by Van Coulter, if that's how you say it, and his team, and the title of it is Sleep and Muscle Recovery, Endocrinological and Molecular Basis. And it basically found that sleep deprivation cuts growth hormone by up to 70%, slashing muscle repair. That's no good, is it? So you're putting all that effort into the gym, but then you're not recovering properly, which means you're just getting less results. So really important, guys. I don't really know how many different ways I can say this to you. You really need to be getting some sleep. At this day and age, we all have the tendency to think that we'll sleep when we're dead. And that is true because, well, you'll be dead. But it's also important to actually prioritize your sleep. We've discussed why it is in other contexts. But today we're just having a little bit of a dive to training specifically. The other thing that not sleeping a lot does, or sleeping less than 7 hours, arguably, is it actually tanks your testosterone by about 10 to 15% per hour missed. That is a huge number. So a 2010 study by Leopold and his team, again, not entirely sure if I'm pronouncing that right. And it basically said that the effect of 1 week of sleep restriction on testosterone levels, that's the title, effect of 1 week of sleep restriction on testosterone levels. And they found that 5-hour nights cut testosterone by 10 to 15%, mimicking a decade of aging. So basically, I was going through the study and they reckon that normal aging will reduce your testosterone by about between 1 and 2% a year. But having less than 5 hours a night was reduced testosterone 10 to 15%, which is insane, especially for guys, obviously. This study was, I believe, run on men. So obviously take this with a pinch of salt if you are of the lady parts. But this is huge, right? Because testosterone doesn't just impact your recovery in terms of muscle development and anabolic goodness and all these things. Low testosterone also massively impacts how depressed you feel, how much of a limp lettuce you become, how brain foggy you are throughout the day. This is serious stuff. So really important, again, to prioritize sleep. Yes, for your recovery, but we know that poor sleep has so many different ways it screws up your day-to-day, your performance, not just your recovery. But the fact that your testosterone is lower will also impact your recovery. from a muscle repair point of view. Now, we've spoken a lot before about having less screen time, going to bed, and all these things. But like I said before, if you're new to the podcast, you may not have heard my weird sleep hack where I basically look like a gimp for ages. But pre-wedding, I was done. I was so tired, obviously trying, being the operative word here, to help the wife get the stuff sorted for the wedding on time. And I moved on to nasal strips and mouth tape. So it wasn't a pretty sight, I'm not going to lie to you, but it massively helps. Nasal breathing when you sleep is important. And naturally, when you sleep, your muscles relax. Your mouth tends to gape a little bit. So putting mouth tape over your mouth, really, really important, really great. And a little bit of a side point here. Also, if you're ill and you feel like you can't breathe properly, putting half a mouth tape on so that you can, if you absolutely need to, still breathe through your mouth. But trying to keep that mouth shut and really breathing through your nose will actually improve your sleep when you feel ill, which means you recover from your illness a little bit quicker. Pro tip. But the disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. If you do that and you die, that's on you. You chose to do that. Anyway, back to our standard programming. But nasal strips, also like the snoring nasal strips, really, really important because they open up your nostrils, which allows more air in. So all of that stuff means your breathing rate reduces because you're getting more oxygen with each inhale because your nostrils are opened up. You're breathing through your nose, which is important, releases nitric oxide into your system, which again helps you relax a bit more. But also, fun-filled fact, suppresses the need for you to wake up to go for a pee. So that's good as well. So I was doing that, and that massively helped how my sleep went, which meant that even though I was actually getting less sleep, the sleep I was getting was of better quality. Now, the whole point of this is that you don't want less sleep, you want more sleep. But if you can make the sleep you have of better quality, then hooray, we're taking a step forwards. And naturally, some of my clients absolutely laughed at me, especially when they saw pictures of me with my gimpy mouth tape on. But some of them tried, and lo and behold, I have mouth tape converts now. And it absolutely isn't sexy, but it is gold. So highly recommend if you don't mind looking like a gimp while you're asleep. Now, some important sleep hacks so that you're still making some gains. Pre-sleep protein tends to be quite good. Make sure you've got a decent bolus of protein so that as you sleep, you're almost minimizing how much tissue loss happens. And a good form of protein for this sort of stuff tends to be casein. Everybody knows of whey protein is like all the rage, but casein is another milk-based protein that tends to be much slower digesting. And you tend to find casein in things like yogurt or cottage cheese. I say slower releasing. You can also buy casein powder, although I don't know if that's your thing, go forth. I have to admit, I've never actually drunk casein in terms of a protein shake. My go-to tends to be yogurt. That's obviously for your protein intake, but for more broad strokes hacks, you've got naturally blackout curtains blocking light, and assuming you haven't just doused yourself in screens leading up to your sleep, having less light in the evening will crank up your melatonin, which deepens your sleep a little bit faster. It's not so much your sleep hormone as much as it is your sleep better hormone. You can think of it that way. And being in a dark environment tends to increase your rapid eye movement sleep or REM sleep, which tends to be when your brain recovers. So really, really important if you don't want to feel really brain foggy and zombie. As we've discussed before, guys, consistent bedtime, 7 to 8 hours every night, ideally hitting the same bedtime every night and the same wake up every time with a half an hour window, almost grace period either side of that. But you don't want to be going much over that half an hour period. This does apply, by the way, when you have days off, right? If you've got a good sleep routine, then staying within that routine will help your body more than massively long lie-ins. Now, having said that, now and again, if you feel like you massively need a lie-in, then obviously do so. Catching up on sleep is also important. Naps, they tend to come in quite handy. So here's some action steps for you guys to take. Scoop 20 grams of casein, whether that is from cottage cheese or a shake or some yogurt, about 45 minutes, half an hour before bed should help you fuel those gains. Make sure that leading up, maybe about 2 hours before you sleep, leading up to that almost wind down time, if you like, you dim those lights. You don't use overhead main lights. Use lamps, ideally dim lamps. Do your curtains up so your room is nice and dark. And pick a bedtime. Say, for example, you wake up at 6. Call it 10 p.m. and stick to it. Starting from now. Consistency is your friend. Not just with your training, not just with showing up to the gym, but with your sleep as well. It will make a difference and it will help you recover, get better gains from all the effort you're putting into the gym. Also, naturally help with everything else in terms of your focus at work, how brain foggy you are, how, on the other side, alert you are, and how productive you are with your time. As always, guys, I hope that was helpful. Share with your friends. And if you found this helpful, give us a 5-star review. Follow me at Bruno Dalladoni on Instagram. Check out the website, brunodalladoni.co.uk. And I will see you guys next time.